Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Premanandi, Gopal ki jai, Shri Radha Madhava ki jai, Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra ki jai, Gaurnitai ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga Bhattacharya. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamai, Namaste Saraswati Devi. Namaste Shashana Bali Paschachade Shatai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Jai Hari Bol, thank you. Nice being Singeshwar Prabhu's hospitable association and his family and the devotees here tonight. Here in wherever we are. What is this suburb called? Pardon? Kendall Park. Kendall Park. Kendall Park. New Jersey. A little late in the year. Usually we come a little earlier. Better late than never. And we've just come from India. Spent a little time in Vrindavan. Maybe some of you were there for Kartik. Anyone was there for Kartik?
Last year.
Last year. So a few of the devotees were there. Dear Govind was there, I think. And I think Devakinandan, I think.
Yes,
And of course Vivek, some of you may remember Vivek. Vivek was also so he's staying there, doing prasad distribution in Vrindavan. Very nice. During Kartik. Any time is nice in Vrindavan. Prabhupada wanted us to try to establish the mood of Vrindavan. The inner mood of Vrindavan, not just what we may see with our material eyes, sometimes may not be quite say what we would expect. But the inner mood of Vrindavan, the mood of unalloyed, pure love of Krishna, to develop this mood and to try to establish this spirit wherever we are in the world, and then everywhere manifest the mood of Vrindavan. Why Srila Prabhupada came to New York from Vrindavan to try to awaken within all of us this understanding this is our real home. We're not really living in Kendall Park or Dayton or Princeton or wherever we're from, Brunswick, wherever we're coming from, where we say we're living. But ultimately Prabhupada would say that we should be living in spiritual realm, Vaikuntha. How to create that Vaikuntha atmosphere, ultimately the mood of Vrindavan, which is without any inhibition whatsoever, even that of, you could say, transcendental reverence, how to develop that. That's the purpose of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement, which has been brought, even though most of you are from Indian origin, maybe coming from India also. So you're slightly different, you could say, exposure throughout your lives, but not that much different. But in the Western world, no exposure whatsoever to the spirit of Vrindavan, practically speaking, where everyone's mood is just to try to enjoy the gifts of God, or the gifts of nature, if we don't believe in God. Everyone tries to enjoy them to our maximum, considering the material world's purpose is for our enjoyment. This is the general ignorance of conditioned souls in everywhere throughout the universe practically. But specifically in the age of Kali, there's very little transcendental understanding of the purpose of this material world. And the reason why we're in this world is because of this egocentric state of consciousness, seeing ourselves in the center as the enjoyer. Vrindavan means there's only one center, the pleasure of Radha and Krishna. There is no other, let's say, alternate. There's no competitor, there's no other goal in existence other than to bring pleasure to the divine couple. Whereas in the material state of consciousness, the mentality, even if God exists, he basically speaking is meant to please me, for my pleasure, to satisfy my needs, my goals, etc. Something related to God, but it's not the mood of Vrindavan. So to try to develop that mood, this Sankirtan movement specifically is descended into this world, along with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. They brought this spirit with them. And Srila Prabhupada brought this spirit. Spirit is not so easy to perceive. People generally perceive the external manifestation and judge accordingly to their own conceptual vision of things, and they sort of tend to see things from a relative perspective. So it's hard even for us to understand the spiritual nature of this Sankirtan movement sometimes. It just seems like another kind of social event or some kind of quasi-religious activities going on where people are coming together and singing something and eating something and talking something, and that's it. But not understanding the deep significance of the subject matter or the activities also, which are activities in their pure essence, or activities of the eternal soul. Although right now we may not be, quite thinking like that, but this Sankirtan activity of chanting in the holy names of Krishna, playing musical instruments, feasting on Krishna prasadam, dancing, at least these activities are, according to our understanding, are activities which are of an eternal, transcendental nature in of themselves, not just that they're a reflection of transcendence, they are actually the activities of transcendence. And we see in pictures, paintings from Krishna's pastimes, specifically with his intimate associates, we often see that they're also dancing, singing the glories of Krishna, playing musical instruments, feasting, and so on. why the Sankirtan movement is generally known as singing, dancing and feasting. It's quite sort of simple in that sense. Many other things are involved and many other, let's say, aspects of the Sankirtan movement. Some of them appear to be quite complex, only because we're already complicated. Because we're complicated in this material world, therefore it's a little complicated to get out of it in one sense. To engage all these complicated attachments and capacities in the service of Krishna for Krishna's pleasure, sometimes it's a little complicated. Because on this platform there are differences of opinion, there are, so many, competition comes in, duality sometimes, seeing faults, so many things are there which appear as impediments or something other than pure devotional service. Jiva Goswami describes that of all the processes of devotional service, only the chanting of the holy names is infallible. Other activities may be paths leading to infallibility, but the chanting of the holy names is an infallible process in this particular day at least. Of course we may be offensive, we may be impure in our service or our association with the holy name, but the process itself is faultless. People may find fault in so many other limbs of devotional service manifesting, but the chanting of the holy names is faultless, it's pure process. It's just that we may not be purely relating to the holy name, otherwise the process is completely sublime and pure for this age of Kali. There is no other process which is in the same, you can say, in the same league almost. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj describes the kirtan of the holy name as the only infallible means of success. The only infallible means of success on the spiritual path. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not particularly talk about other paths, such as deity worship, etc. They were there, but he didn't emphasize them so much. But he emphasized the chanting of the holy names in every respect as the only means of, so many statements are there, the only means of counteracting the ill effects of this age of Kali, the faults of this age of Kali are numerous. There's no end. We can go on forever finding faults if we want, even within our own Sangha, because there's still either our perception is certainly imperfect, that's for sure, so we're going to see faults where there aren't faults also. And probably most of us are also still attached to faulty behavior. So it's not difficult to find what we term faults in our lives, in the behavior of others around us, etc., etc. This Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults. We can't expect there won't be faults. Prabhupada said, don't expect that this movement's going to be utopia. It's not. He said even in that same statement, he said even in the spiritual world there are faults, but they're not material faults. The transcendental ones are a little hard to understand. How in the spiritual world it doesn't appear to be a fault from our limited perception, but in one sense it is a fault. The gopis are putting the tops on the bottoms, and so many different things are going on there. Now, from a material perspective, you could say they're faults, but they're not from the transcendental perspective at all. They're just manifestations of ecstatic love for Krishna. In the material world, the faults are actually everything's a fault, because we're putting the formula's wrong. We've got it wrong from day one. Krishna in the center, everything becomes faultless, but we're putting ourselves in the center, everything's faulty. Although it may be judged as not faulty by others who are also putting themselves in the center, is actually faulty. Everything we do is full of faults, unless we put Krishna in the center of our lives. Not so easy. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has emphasized the chanting of the holy names to help us to come to that point. But unfortunately, we don't chant much. We have many other things to do. busy in our lives, busy doing so many things, but not much chanting, really, considering the importance of this chanting, which is in this Kirtane Krishnasya, Kirtane Eva Krishnasya, Mukta Sangha Parambhajat. This is the only Ekamahanguna, the only good quality in this age of Kali, is the Kirtan of the holy name. Dancing, chanting, singing. This is the only good quality. Everything else is questionable, practically speaking. Therefore, Jiva Goswami emphasized that we should always accompany whatever service we do with the chanting of the holy names. Helps to make everything faultless. Even Shukracharya, when he was asked this question by Lord Vishnu, what is the fault of Kali Maharaj, said actually he caused no fault because he chanted your holy names. There may be so many faults in the execution, so many faults may be there in the execution of our daily lives, both from the material perspective and even from the, you could say in a sense, from the practice of devotional service. We may not be exactly in tune with the way things should be. But he said, if your holy name is chanted and the Sankirtanam Tava, everything becomes nishchidam or faultless. Otherwise, everything is subject to fault. There's going to be some error, particularly in Kali Yuga. So iti shodashakam nama kalikama shanashanam. The chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, counteracts all the ill effects of this age of Kali. So this is we speak this, but we don't always practice it so much as we could probably. That's why we need Sangha, even if it's just once a week, once a day, once a morning and evening, whatever it is, as much as possible, to remind us of this essential, you can say, opportunity afforded to us in this human life, which is very, very rare, extremely rare, but it's very, very rare to get this opportunity to come into the association of devotees and get the opportunity to hear and chant. And it's amazing to see how, whatever people say, you know, the society started by Srila Prabhupada, maybe in certain parts of the world has not seemingly expanded, or at least is not expanding in the same way that it may have done in the past. But when we see in Vrindavan, as you well know, just now we're witnessing Radhanath Swami Maharaj, 6,000 or 7,000 disciples all in one tent together, chanting and dancing. Of course you could say that's quite small compared to the 7 billion people on the planet. But this is going on, and the effect of that is actually benefiting all 7 billion. But it's going on in many places, maybe not the same numerical numbers, but the chanting is going on everywhere. And somebody said there are now 10 million devotees in ISKCON, whatever that means. I think it means generally congregational, close supporters of the movement, not so much full-time practitioners, of course. There's a large number, considering 50 years ago there was, outside of a few pockets in India, there were none. Now it's all over the world, spread in many places. And although he may be born in Indian backgrounds, Lord Chaitanya's philosophy is we're not Indian or American or English or Chinese. We're all eternal servants of the servants of, and so on, of the Lord. Whatever our body may be, the point of Lord Chaitanya's movement is to deliver everyone. So we have a great chance here in New Jersey, everywhere, great chance to awaken that within everyone's heart. It's not something new, it's the oldest thing. Sometimes people, well, this is a new religion, what's this new stuff then? It's not, it's the oldest because it's the nature of the soul. Krishna consciousness movement is not teaching something to people, it's awakening what's already within them. It's teaching them, as Prabhupada said when he first arrived, not when he first arrived, but in 1966, when he wrote his, for ISKCON, he wrote his constitution for ISKCON. So they're to teach techniques of spiritual life, to awaken with all living entities a remembrance of Krishna, their relationship with Krishna. Techniques which help to awaken that relationship is not to, make a relationship. The relationship's already there, just the techniques to awaken it. Nityasiddha Krishna Prem Saja Kavanaya Shravanadi Shudratiti. Karyudaya, it's already in our hearts, this has to be awoken. So those who are awake can wake us up. If we're sleeping, what can you do in a dream? The dream becomes a reality. I was just reading an article by one devotee, a disciple, and one line in the article he was describing how he came across. Anyway, it's kind of like I don't know what you call the type of article he was writing, but describing different situations he was coming across on his journey. Kind of like not an actual kind of but the journey through this world, coming across young people who are so absorbed in computers and games and so on that that's become their reality. He was describing very graphically how to them that's a reality, and they have no time for the actual reality because this artificial reality which they're living in. But everyone's living in an artificial reality in this material world, everybody. Because we're identifying ourselves with that which is not. We're identifying ourselves with the material world around us, with the mind that we're associating with, or my mind, the body which we're, the family. Everything is artificial identity. It's a temporary contact to the modes of nature, manifested in certain ways, reflective ways, and we think it's a reality, but it's a reflection of reality, you could say. But it's not absolute, it's just relative. And we become attached to our relatives, and so on. We have to become attached to the absolute. So that's already there. The nature of attachment is the nature of the soul. It's not something that's not artificial. What is artificial is the object of our attachment and the identification therein. So to change that attachment is the method. That's the method which Srila Prabhupada is teaching. That's the technique. How to change that attachment, or that identification, from the material to the spiritual. Lord Kapila Dev in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, describes how that attachment, every living being knows that the greatest entanglement for the living entity is their attachment to the sense objects. It's the greatest entanglement. Everyone's entangled. Every living entity, man, animal, beast, fish, everyone's attached to the sense objects, whatever form they're in. But we're all attached. They might come in the form of our own body or in the bodies of others or various objects of enjoyment of this world. And consequently there's all kinds of other reactions therein to being in this material world. Fear, frustration, and so many other things. Anxiety, lust, greed, of course, are the driving forces, and resulting in so much frustration and fear and so on. So these things are experienced when one is in this dreamlike condition, or this forgetful condition, or this condition of ignorance of who we actually are. And as soon as one wakes up, then one's fears are dissipated. Lust and greed, everything in the material world which drive us on, and no longer is like a serpent with no fangs, no poisonous fangs. Maybe look like we're there, but there's no poison there anymore. So the science is to transfer that attachment towards Krishna. How to do that, Lord Kapila Dev describes. But when that same attachment is transferred towards the self-realized souls, it's the cause of liberation. Because they teach us how to utilize that attachment in the service of Krishna, in a way which will release us from our bondage in this world. So to associate with such personalities, great devotees, is extremely rare. To get that chance to associate with the great devotees in this world is very, very rare. But by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, we're having that chance to associate with Srila Prabhupada and many other great souls, to help us to naturally become attracted towards Krishna consciousness, naturally become attached to Krishna. and devotional service and so on. It's not a kind of an artificial imposition, it's just an awakening of what's already there, Prabhupada said. It's not an imposition on our consciousness. Material life is an imposition. We become like a child when it's born. So many things are imposed upon the child, environmental impositions. When we come into this material world, we have this imposition. People are taught this way at school, we're taught that way at home, we're taught on the television, we're taught through books, and so many different things, the environment around us. We're indoctrinated to see things in a certain way and to accept various, so-called truths as being absolute, but they're not. They're just relative, phenomenal knowledge, which is required for existence in our lives, so to speak, but it's not going to do anything but keep us in the material world, lifetime after lifetime. The association of devotees, those who realize the absolute, those who know the purpose behind it all, those who know that even this material world is Krishna's energy and is meant to be used in Krishna's service, such personalities can help us to become free from not just birth and death, but all the various, you could say, experiences the living entity has to go through in the darkness of this material world. We all experience that. The fears, we become very attached to family life, then we have to experience all kinds of anxiety and fear and struggle and so many things in family life, unavoidable. And the material world is the nature of this material world. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said the nature of this material world is turmoil and annoyance. You can't avoid it. It's like the nature of water. You start complaining, why is this water wet? People think you're crazy. Of course it's wet. It's not water if it's not wet. Because ice is an unnatural state of water, you can say. It's an unnatural condition of normal water. It turns back into water when the normal condition arises again. So wetness is the nature of water. Or if you put your hand in a fire, damn it, why is this fire burning? Of course it's going to burn. It's a fire, otherwise it's not a fire if it doesn't burn. It looks like one. You have artificial when it doesn't burn. It's not a fire, just artificial. So the nature of this material world is like that. We can't expect anything other than that, dukkhalayam or shashvatam, or annoyance and turmoil, as Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said. We have to expect that's what it is. But we're busy fighting against the constitution of the material world, trying to change it. But it's a futile endeavor, totally futile. One may adjust a little pocket here and a little pocket there, but it just has an opposite reaction somewhere else. And it doesn't last either. You blow up a balloon, it doesn't stay blown up forever, just for some time. So everything's artificial in this world in that sense. The endeavor to try to find our home or be free of all these unwanted experiences is natural, but we're just looking in the wrong place and going to the wrong people for answers, going to similar persons who are also in illusion. Just like if you're sinking, I don't know if you have this term, quicksand. Have you heard that term? Quicksand? I think you have quicksand in America also, in many places probably. And if you get stuck in the quicksand, it's pretty dangerous. If you're unlucky, you might even die because it can be deep sometimes. And you go down, it's hard to get out. You need someone's help who's not in the quicksand. There's no point holding on to someone else's hand who's also in the quicksand. You just go down together. So basically we're doing that in the material. We're holding hands of people who are also ignorant of their spiritual identity, ignorant of anything beyond the phenomena understanding of this world. And we think that is, like Prabhupada says, like trying to cross an ocean by holding on to a dog's tail. You ever seen a dog swim in the ocean? Ever seen a dog swim in the ocean? Mm-hmm. They have what they call it, dog paddle. They call it dog paddle in America. When we learned swimming, the first stroke that we had to learn was the dog paddle. Such hard work. You go so slow and your arms and legs are flapping like anything and you're hardly moving. Yeah. The dogs, they can only swim like that. They're better at it than we are, of course. Dog paddle, they can't swim very far usually, dogs. It's not a very effective stroke. But anyway, they do this dog paddle And then you think, oh, no problem, there's a dog, he can swim, I'll grab his tail. And together we'll cross the ocean. You might get a couple of meters, and then it'll be gone down. It doesn't work, you know. Nothing lasts. We take shelter of people in this world and bam, they're gone. It's all over. Taking shelter of these atmasanyasvasatsapi, these fallible soldiers of the material world. All around us we see everything is flopping. Leaders flop, you know, policies flop, nations flop, families flop, everything's flopping. I'll use that term. A dead body flapping, use the word flapping. There's nothing but a dead body flapping. That's what we're in, this material body. Flapping around for a few years trying to survive. That's not the real purpose of our lives. Okay, we're all flapping together. I'm flapping better than you're flapping. It's nice. My flapping's quite okay, actually. Having a nice flap. But that's not the purpose of this human life, at least. But people don't know it. They're in total ignorance. No one teaches these things. At school, there's zero education in this regards. Religion hardly touches on it. Practically nowhere. Philosophy is just a mental speculation. Science is just physical speculation. Everything's just missing the point. But what to do? One of the great devotees of the Lord. And what does association with devotees means? Particularly it means satam prasangam mama viri sangvido bhavanti vidkarma sanakata. Particularly, specifically, it means to come together with devotees. And although we may not have realized, but just by hearing and chanting the holy name of Krishna and subjects pertaining to Krishna, one's heart can become cleansed. What it means, heart cleansed? Most people will think of the heart which is pumping the blood around the body. They don't understand what that means. It's not the physical heart. It's the actual consciousness of the soul. With the soul situated in the region of the heart, consciousness emanates from that region. Or many things emanate from that region. The consciousness of the living entity becomes cleansed. And when the consciousness becomes cleansed, then one's perception of the phenomenal changes also. Even one's perception of phenomenal can become a reality. Not a reality in the sense of ignorance or in the darkness, but in the light of Krishna consciousness. When it becomes clear, tamasi mam jyoti agamaha. Everything when it comes into that association becomes enlightened. Hearing and chanting in the association devotees is very pleasing to the heart and the ear. Cleanses the heart and is very satisfying to the senses. They become satisfied, no longer hankering after contact with the material objects. Without this, opportunity, we have no choice. We have to be attached to something. So people naturally become attached to the objects around them. So they try to become attached to Krishna, to Radha Krishna, attached to chanting the holy name, attached to devotees who are sincerely trying to practice Krishna consciousness, attached to the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and so on. Some things are easier than others. It's quite easy to become attached to prasadam. It's not so easy to become attached to everything else. But by association, that natural attachment can develop. Just like Rupa Goswami gives the example in Nectar of Instruction, how the living entities are in a condition, jaundice-like condition, in the mode of ignorance. But just like a jaundice condition can be cured by sugar candy, similarly our jaundice-like condition in the material world mode of ignorance can be, or we can be awoken, we can wake up by contact or by hearing, by constantly hearing and chanting about Krishna. It can wake us up. But again, we probably don't do enough of it. There are methods, technological methods, which may help us. There's a beautiful, I did distribute a few. They're all gone actually. I think they're all gone. These little beautiful little, I don't know what you call them, radios or something. And on there is all Prabhupada's lectures, 2,000 plus. Beautiful sound, plays on and on and on very clearly. You can choose which lecture you want very easily. They're all titled, indexed, and nicely done. And you can have it on all day long. Just hearing Prabhupada speak the absolute truth. We'll speak the absolute truth in a way that we can connect with it and see this material world in relationship with the techniques of spiritual life, hearing how we can engage our conditioned existence in the service of Krishna, engage our senses, Rishikena, Rishikesha, Bhakti, Seva, Uchite. When we do this under the direction of a pure devotee of the Lord, then Sarvopadi Vinamuktam Tattvaradvena Nirmalam. Our heart becomes Nirmalam, pure, and the Sarvopadis are identifications, all of them, Sarvopadi Vinamuktam. We become free to them all. No longer thinking, I am an Indian, I am a Hindu, I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm an engineer, I'm an IT specialist, I'm a husband, I'm a wife, I'm a father, I'm a mother, I'm a child, I'm a this, I'm a that. I'm a fool. Whatever we think. Most people don't think they're fools. Whatever we think we're full. Maybe when we had a lot to eat, we might think we're a fool. But whatever we think we are, I'm a football player. I'm a basketball, baseball, volleyball, whatever. Harry ball, a ball. Everyone's got some identity in this world, or identifying with it. Mostly the Indian background. Man, they can't resist it when the Indian cricket team are playing. Some identification there. If you're from England football, American football, absolutely absorbed in it. Politics, so many identifications with illusion. Temporary pictures flashing on the screen of the mind in this world of Maya, just to keep us fascinated. Just like children, most of you probably have had or have young children, and I can hear a few of them having their party in the background. And you've got to give them things to do. They can't stay still for a moment. Their minds are wandering. Their senses are going crazy. All the time, new things. Maya's always giving us new toys to play with. The latest electronic gadget, the latest, some scientific thing, the latest, toys. They're just little sophisticated toys that Maya allows, or puts before us. Wow, great invention. Nobel Prize, he's just invented a new, whatever it is. Whistle or something, I don't know. And, I think it's a great breakthrough in humanity. Great progress. They're just sophisticated toys to keep us busy. The Prabhupada said also in our Krishna conscious movement, he said, actually, there's nothing required except for chanting the holy names, but because you can't do it, I have to think of so many things to keep you busy. Do this, do that, do this. So many things, But ultimately, because the world is absorbed in all these stupidly complex issues, we have to also, even if we are transcendental, Krishna says to Arjuna, you still have to work in this world to show others how to work without being attached. So we're not transcendental, but even if we were, we'd still have to work. So we have to work because, we're just so restless and we're so attached. So we work in different ways, but the pure devotees teach us the way of doing that, Rishikena, Rishikesha, so it's connected to Krishna and helps us, Sushushroshara Dhanasya Vasudeva Katarishi, to slowly cure us of this attachment in this material world and help us to develop that attraction for hearing and chanting about Krishna. So practical activities are essential in the beginning, and every stage may be necessary for preaching, but particularly in the beginning, to help us to become connected to Krishna and freed from our addiction to the material world. And then gradually our attraction, as our hearts become lightened, will become attracted to hearing and chanting about Krishna more and more and more. Especially the chanting, the kirtan of the holy name, as Lord Chaitanya, Lord, has appeared in this form, Namachintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. The name is Binatvan Namanamino. It's not different. The name and the named are the one and the same. We may not realize that right now, but by associating and following the process given to us by those who do realize it, by the mercy of Krishna, that realization can come. That requires association, proper association, to awaken that understanding. Otherwise we get caught up with the details, caught up with all kinds of relativities, issues, this thing, that thing. To rise above all this duality is the goal of our lives, and to attain that platform, that Vrindavan platform, where there's just no other thoughts. It's not like, oh, I prefer this to that. There aren't any other thoughts. The relative word is, I prefer this to that, That's the relative word. On the transcendental platform, there's no such thought. It's absolutely absorbed in just love for Krishna, pure love of Krishna. What to do? Chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and go to sleep. And go to sleep. No, wake up. Or Bhaktivinoda said, wake up. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Jeev jago, Goda Chandra bole, Gota Nidra Jayo. Jayo, not Jaya, by the way. Jayo Maya, Jaya Maya. We're not say all glories to Maya. Jayo Maya, Pisha Chirakole, Pajibo Balia Ese, Samsara Vitare, Uliaro Hile Tumi, Avidyara Bore. Excuse me singing it, but it's actually morning for me. This is Mangalarti time now. I know it's time to go to bed, and I feel like that too, but it's actually kind of morning on our clock where we're coming from. It's a nice song to sing when you wake up in the morning. Toma loite ami, oino avatara, Ami bina bandoara, keache toma, eneche osari maya, nashibaro lagi, harinama maha mantra, layotumi mai. Eneche osari maya, Oshari, the medicine. Lord Chaitanya has brought the medicine to wake us up. Harinama Mahamantra. The Bhavoshri Chotramanobi, the medicine to cure us of that Bhavarog, this material birth and death, this material entanglement, is the Oshadi, that's Uttama Gunanavadat, the nectarian topics concerning Krishna, particularly the Harinama Mahamantra, Tumi Magi. This is the special medicine which Lord Chaitanya has brought. But unlike mundane medicine, this medicine is very tasty and very sweet and very blissful. We just have to drink deep the chanting of the holy names. Regularly chant the holy names. In the association of devotees especially, but with or without, we have to keep chanting the holy name of Krishna. It's our only sustenance, our only means of success. If they find no other means of success other than chanting of the holy names in all the 14 worlds, Bhaktivinoda says there's no other method of perfection in all the 14 worlds. There's nothing to be had but the holy name of Krishna. So we should try to encourage this chanting of the holy name more and more and more wherever we go. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Oh wow, we got an enthusiastic party member in the back there chanting. That's the best, most enthusiastic chanting. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Why is it little children have the loudest voices? Isn't it funny? They're very small, but they've got very loud voices. Wonderful. Maybe that's what it means to chant like a child, huh? Maybe childlike to enter into the kingdom of God. There's no kind of like thoughts, what do people think about me? Right, when you're a kid? You're just expressing yourself, whatever illusion one's in, but it's expressing oneself without any abash, without any considering what do they think. I don't care damn what they think, it's what I think that counts. You should take note of what I think. It's kind of course it's mundane, but that mentality is like that, spontaneous kind of outpouring of emotion. And the spiritual world is like that too, but it's pure, it's all for Krishna, it's not for me. It's an indication of a little spiritual aspect, you could say. Chanting like that. Very nice. We've got December's coming in a few days, Prabhupada Transcendental Book Marathon. Maybe some. Do you do that here in New Jersey?
Yes, Maharaj.
Singeshwar Prabhu says yes. What about everybody else? He knows the heart of Srila Prabhupada. That's Prabhupada's heart, book distribution. Why? Because that's giving that Uttama Shloka Vinanavadat, that Bhavoshidi Chotamanobidramat, that medicine to cure them of their disease. This transcendental knowledge of Krishna consciousness. Try your best to distribute as many books as you can in December. Any time, not just December, all year, every day, whenever you get the chance. Distribute Prabhupada's books and try to apply them. And if you haven't got time to read, I'd recommend you to get these little, what do you call it, Rasikananda? What would be the technical term for those little boxes?
Prabhupada lecture box.
Okay, that's nice way of describing it. Prabhupada lecture box, okay? It's a little red thing. Usually it's red. I haven't seen that. I think they're all red so far. Yeah, you've got to get one. Hari Charan's going to India, to Bombay next week, and that's where they come from, Bombay, Juhu. So you can order one through him if you want. They're fantastic. Subal, I gave one to Subal. I gave one. Some devotees. I've heard that some devotees are getting married on Sunday. So I gave them a wedding present. It's supposed to be the other way around, but I gave them a wedding present. It's transcendental. You've got to make it transcendental somehow or another. So I gave them one of these Prabhupada lecture boxes, which I'm sure they've been playing all day long. Right? Dinabandhu?
Yes.
Yes. Lip service.
It was on.
It was on. Well, were you on or off? That was playing, but you were somewhere else. Sometimes on, sometimes off. But you keep it playing, at least we'll pick up something. It's incredible. It's good, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Will you have anything to say about it?
It's wonderful. It's so easy to use, and you can choose.
Easy to use, and you can choose. That's a good poetic line. Good selling line there. Easy to use, and you can choose. Nothing to lose. Drives away your blues. Yeah, it's great. Just listen to Prabhupada all day long, one lecture after the next, and you can choose exactly which lecture. You're giving a class on Bhagavad Gita 6, chapter 6, text 10. If Prabhupada ever gave a lecture on chapter 6, text 10, and it was recorded, you just look in the book, press the button, and on comes lecture 610 immediately, within a couple of seconds. It's very phenomenal. And you can listen to Prabhupada lecture on that verse. Prepare yourself by hearing Prabhupada's realization or revelation on that verse. It's really good. So that's a wonderful present to give somebody. Wonderful present. And gift them Bhagavatam. If you haven't got a Bhagavatam set, get some Bhagavatam sets. And give some Christmas presents away or something. Very nice. Share this knowledge with others in whatever way possible. Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
There's so many songs now. The sun is rising, morning song. Are there any songs you sing at night to put you to sleep? Now the day is over. Now it's time for sleeping. We don't have any songs like that, do we? Generally, the acharyas don't emphasize that end of the day so much, except for the... not in that sense, anyway. Because sleep is like death, ignorance. Now it's time to go to sleep. Sometimes the conditioned soul has to sleep. The pure devotees may not need to sleep. They may also sometimes. The conditioned souls need relief. Our intelligence is just wiped out after a day in the office, or a day at school, or a day at home, or a day anywhere. They're wiped out. The intellect needs a break. trying to control the mind's demands, sort them out. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai. Srila Prabhupada's transcendental books ki jai. Shri Radha Madhava ki jai. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki jai. Shri Gaurnitai ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Any complaints? Any questions, complaints, comments?
Anybody got any questions?
They got millions of questions. They're not going to waste their time asking me. They got more important things to do. They practice tolerance now for over an hour.
Maharaj, I have one question. You were asking that Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamso.
Pardon? I've lost my hearing's not good. I was asking?
Yeah, you were saying that Astoma Sadgamaya Tamso Ma Jyotirgamaya. So I could not understand the context of it.
Come out of the darkness into the light. That's the purpose of our movement. Prabhupada is help. One who's in the light can help us get out of the darkness. So he's teaching us how to come out of the darkness into the light. Simple. When you're in the light, you can see things. When you're in the darkness of ignorance, you can't see, even if it's there. You identify it with snake to be a rope and so on and so forth. When you wake up, when you come and the sun shines, you realize it's not a snake, it's a rope. You know, when you're in the darkness of night, you see things which are actually something which they're not. That's called Maya. The whole process of Krishna consciousness is to turn on the light so we can see things. And there's different ways of describing it, but that's one angle of description. To come into the light, wake up. Spiritual Master opens our eyes, which is darkened with the darkness of ignorance, you know. But with the torchlight of knowledge, knowledge is light. Bhagavad Gita back to God, isn't it? Yeah. Krishna consciousness. What's that line in the back to Godhead? In essence is darkness and knowledge is light. Yeah. So, you know, we've got to come into that light. That light means come into the association of the devotees and hearing and chanting. That's what it means. Come into the light. Wake up. The darkness of ignorance. And Prabhupada quotes that verse many times. As both the practice and effect of Krishna consciousness. Come out of the darkness into the light. By being in the light, we start to wake up and see things. Immediately we may not see. It's still a bit blurred, a bit sleepy. But if we stay in the light, then we can see things clearly. The art of Krishna consciousness will always stay in the light, never go in the darkness. That's what a movement means. We don't stay still, we have to move, follow the sun. Krishna Surya Sam Maya Hayandakara. Krishna is like the sun, Maya is like darkness. This is Vrindavan. This is where you go to Vrindavan to try to get a kind of a reminder, a sample, an experience, something we can take away with us to remember. Remembering Govardhan Hill, remembering the Jamuna River, remembering all the wonderful, directly you could say, direct Tadiya of Krishna. Just remind us of Krishna. Different manifestations of Krishna and his expansions. To remember them. The deities, the cows, whatever, Varshana, different places, different activities that took place in that transcendental realm. We may not see the extent of that transcendental realm, but this indicative of, you could say, that plane where these pastimes take place. You may be seeing a dusty thorn bush. When all around, we look around, there's dusty thorn bushes and mischievous monkeys. We're being told this is the place of the highest leelas of Krishna. Sometimes you scratch your head and wonder, are you dancing in thorn bushes? I don't think so. We can't see the actual, essential presence of the spiritual realm in one sense. We're seeing Like the moon, when Prabhupada says when they go to the moon, huh? They don't really see the moon. Even if you do go to the moon, Prabhupada does say some, even if they did, they haven't actually entered the real moon. We're just seeing the rock core at most, a dusty rock core. But that's not all there is to see. We haven't got the eyes to see the actual nature of the moon. One has to have the eyes to see. We don't have them in this present condition. We can only see what we can see through our present conditional senses. When the senses become pure, then we can see things one's not aware of, even amongst different species of life. Some species of life are aware or perceive things that we don't. They have senses are capable of perceiving things with hearing and seeing which we're not able to perceive. We have a limited scope of perception with our senses. And so transcendence is not something we can perceive. Patakshri Krishna Namadi Nabhavat Graham Indriya. With mundane senses we can't perceive the transcendence. So when we go to Vrindavan, we see what we see, I don't know, but we see something. We see something. The idea of that is it reminds us of the transcendence. It reminds us the Lord has made this arrangement to give us this chance to remember the eternal transcendental abode. Where we may only be seeing a kind of a tiny little kind of reflection of it, a little like a tip of an iceberg or something. But it is totally related to, and in the right association, we can get the proper understanding and the eligibility to enter deeper into that abode or that atmosphere. Otherwise, if we go to Vrindavan and we just look for the best place to stay, oh no, I've got to have a luxury apartment with a big air con and make sure that I've got all mod cons there more than I do in New York. And where's the best place to eat? MVT. No, there's another place now which is better than the MVT. You get better pizzas there, and there I can meet a nice girl, a nice boy, and so on and so forth, or have a social get together, whatever it is. That's not Vrindavan. That's not going to help us much. That type of mentality. Go for a game of golf. They have a golf course in Vrindavan now. You can play golf and tennis court also. All sorts of wonderful things you can do on your trip to Vrindavan, as if you can't do them here. But that's not Vrindavan. That's just a trick of the Lord. Well, we shouldn't be tricked like that. We've done a trick in a sense to get some benefit, but that's not the real benefit of going to Vrindavan. None of the animals get the same benefit, isn't it? What's that? Yasyatma buddhi kunapetu tada case vadika tradisha boma jadi. Yatita buddhi shalilena karchit janesha vigesh eva gokara. And we just go to Vrindavan and we just start to think, I'm American, I'm in English, I'm an Indian, I'm in this, I'm in that. This is my family, yes, very nice. And this body is me, and this is my place of birth is worshipable, and I'll take a dip in the Yamuna. I won't take a dip anymore because it's not the Yamuna. I'll do something and get rid of my sinful reactions, and then I'll go back to New York. Look at the idols, make out like I'm seeing something transcendental, give a few dollars, and then come back. But that's not the purpose. The purpose is to hear, as the animals like, to hear from those great souls, to hear how we can change our lives, change our lives in a sense, cleanse our lives, purify our consciousness, change the direction of our consciousness by hearing the right Sangha, coming out of that darkness. We don't take our darkness to Vrindavan. We come there, go there to get light, be enlightened, serve the cows. Cow puja, very important activity, and service to the Vaishnavas, chanting the holy names, hearing Bhagavatakatha, etc., going on programe if it helps us to remember Krishna, and so on. Not just to say, I went there, I did this, I did that, all the pictures, flash, 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 but to actually have a picture in our hearts of Vrindavan, to develop that picture in our heart. The picture of Vrindavan in the heart can be developed just like we develop a picture from a film in the right environment, in the right circumstances. So Assuming that picture in our heart can be developed in the right association, right Sangha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gaur Premanandi.
So let us Janananda Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Everybody please be seated for a minute.
Please be seated for a minute, we're not finished yet. And there's something else coming up now.
Let's thank Maharaj from our hearts.
Oh, I got some prasadam. Where's that prasadam?
Yes, Maharaj.
No, I bought a box from Vrindavan. Is that the box I brought? No. Where's the box? It's somewhere here. We have some
It's also from Vrindavan.
Oh, that's also. How did you get that?
So, devotee went to Vrindavan for
Which
parikrama.
devotee?
Manmohan Prabhu.
Is he here?
No, he just
He left? He was here.
he was
When did he leave?
maybe earlier, right? Before Maharaj comes.
Before I came. Okay, you heard I was coming and he left quickly.
So also, we would also thank all the devotees and Maharaj's disciples. Especially, we'll also thank Subal Prabhu bringing Maharaj over here.
Oh, I'm sorry we were late.
No, that's all right. And also the Dinabandhu Prabhu, Nicharan Prabhu, Jano Mataji,
What have they done different to anyone else?
Nirsagi Mataji. Anybody else? Am I missing anybody? All the disciples
Oh,
especially.
why are the disciples? They didn't do anything different. Oh.
Thank you, and I,
You're all for
of course, and Prabhuji, I